Welcome to Whose Turn Is It Anyway, your board gaming podcast where we talk about board games and on occasion some board game conventions, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. We've got a good lineup of the Devon Board Gaming Weekend that we attended back in late February. And on the episode, we've got Adrian.
Hello.
And Davey.
Hello.
How are you doing, gentlemen?
I'm good. I've just spent 9 voidfalls worth of money on a car, or not on a car, but fixing the car. So,
Galactic edition or standard?
Galactic.
whatever's that over £100 one.
Probably Galactic edition, yeah. 9 voidfalls worth of fees.
of fixing cars. So I've got a smile on my face just about still. But yeah.
Is that now a denomination of money? Is a voidfall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got
like it.
like a Calax of space. You now have a voidfall of money.
Yeah.
You know,
I like that.
builders will pay each other 6 voidfalls for the day and stuff like that. That's how it works.
I might charge myself out. So how many voidfalls do you get paid a day? That's good.
Yeah.
We'll do
So
that.
there we go. That's how I'm doing.
So peaky. Yeah, nice. How about you, Davey?
What? I wanted to hear more about Adrian's car. What have you done?
I don't know that I've done anything. Just everything needed replacing at once, apparently.
Is it MOT season?
Yes, it
Was the guy like rubbing his hands together and going, "Yeah, I think you need to replace all of this"?
I don't know about that, but yeah, he did. So that'll come to.
Did he go?
No, he didn't.
It's when he's doing the calculator for more than a minute. That's when you're going to worry. It's
Deducting what you've paid already, and adding that on, and tax and coffee break and all that. Like it'll come to 8.9 voidfalls.
8.9 voidfalls. And will he take voidfalls or just the equivalent worth of currency?
Just the equivalent worth. I think if I turned up with 9 voidfalls and went, there you go, they might look at me a bit funny.
There we go. Now we can call your car the Destroyer as well, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Hopefully I won't have it long. That's the really frustrating bit, is hopefully I'm getting a new car in like 3-4 months' time. So that's the really frustrating part, but never mind.
Cars are shit though, aren't they? I such a drain. You need them, but they're a pain in the arse.
The Destroyer of wallets.
Yeah. Anyway, Davey, how's your car?
My car's okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not much to report on my car. At least it's not a boat at the moment, so that's fine. I don't know if everyone knows, but my previous car got flooded out, and I ended up sending a picture to all you guys where I was just in the middle of the puddle. More like a river, but yeah.
It's that scene out of James Bond, Spy Who Loved Me, in his Lotus Esprit, and trying to go underwater with it, right?
Yeah,
but you're not in a gadget car, right?
I'm not in a gadget car. I'm in an Audi, which basically has a low air intake, so it just sucked up water through the straw. My passenger side was just absolutely waterlogged. It just came right up, and I was like, I'm not. It's higher than the water is outside in the passenger side. I was just like, what's going on? But yeah, so I've got a car since then, so nothing really to report.
No.
Other than that, no.
Fair enough.
If anyone saw me at the convention, I was walking a bit hunched over because I'd slipped a disc.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling better now. I'm a bit more mobile.
Yeah.
Back to my dancing and my tango.
Snake hips.
Snake hips, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you doing, JP?
Yeah, my car's fine as well. So
good.
Yeah, no, nothing to report. It's quite beautifully boring. It works and drives around. But no, not a lot really. Just busy life, busy things going on, work-wise and everything else. And gaming-wise as well.
Have you talked about your move yet? You've moved? We've moved location?
I've mentioned
You've
that.
mentioned it.
Yeah, I think...
You're fully settled now, though.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about this.
No, yeah, you're definitely... we're definitely settled. What was it been? Like a month and a half? Nearly 2 months now, which is mad.
Yeah.
When I think about it, we spent nearly 11 months trying to move house. And then we're finally in, and now it's like, oh yeah, we've always been here now. It's just really strange. But yes, our podcast headquarters is in a new area. You can't see it, but we've got this really makeshift table stand that holds the mic up, which is pretty cool. It's like a little mini robot.
It's like one of the little robots in Star Wars that goes around the ships cleaning it and does all like the weird tasks.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all good. Should we talk about the board gaming weekend?
Yes, let's.
Let's do it. Let's sting. So this episode is all about the Devon Board Gaming Weekend, held at the Fox Hound Country Hotel in Eggesford. I think I got that right. I always say Eggesford wrong, or Egglesford, but it's Eggesford, I think. And it's quite near Crediton, not so far from Exeter. For those that are wondering where the hell this is. I mean, if you're in the southwest, you might have half an idea, but if you're anywhere else, you probably won't know. So it's all good.
Yeah, should check it out though. It's a nice venue.
It's a lovely hotel. With kind of out of the way in the country, hence the name. And it's run by a chap called Matt and his wife and I think his family, daughter and son, pop in and work there. I think his daughter was waiting on us as well throughout the weekend. We've been to this convention before. Our first time was last year. I think, Adrian, this was your first.
This was my first one.
This is your first one. We went last year and we had such a great time. We didn't actually do an episode to fully feature this last year. I think due to time and everything else going on, we kind of had to bolt it one of our episodes. So we said, no, we're going to do a proper episode to cover this this convention because it is quite unique. And it's very different, I would say, to a lot of the other ones, mainly because of its size and the way it's ran, and it kind of has that intimate feel to it, is kind of what I would say. And that's basically because of the culture and the environment that's kind of established by Matt, but it's also kind of co-run by Christoph from Meeples Corner.
Yep.
Who both of them together kind of put on this event for the weekend. So basically they shut the whole hotel down from like 3:00 on the Friday.
Pretty much.
And they say the facilities are yours until pretty much similar time on a Sunday. So yeah, I think
we get fed as well.
You definitely get fed. Yeah, we always like getting fed at these things.
Exactly. The food's very good.
Food was very good.
Yeah. What did we have on the Friday? It has like a bit of a curry.
Yeah, there was a mix, wasn't it? It was a buffet of curries.
Bit of this, bit of that.
As you say, depending on what you picked, because I think it was supposed to be 3 very separate meals, but most people treated it like a spoon of everything.
Yeah,
sort of plate.
Exactly.
Yeah, it worked.
Variety is the spice of life.
Yeah, so we had a buffet on Friday and then obviously cooked breakfast each morning. Lovely.
Yeah.
And then Saturday was the event dinner. We'll cover that kind of later in the episode. And then they did run a carvery on the Sunday, which I didn't have, but I know the Curlies did. The Curlies did. Good. Very happy with it when I left. So So I think from our group, obviously we had us 3.
Yep.
We had Tambo, Rob, we had Becky and Curly, and anyone else that I can't remember.
That was it from us, wasn't it?
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it, right?
Yeah, just Taz was my friend who came along with me.
We had Taz who drove us in, so thank you, Taz, for the drive. Really appreciate that. Because basically, as Davey alluded to, he couldn't drive anywhere, let alone walk anywhere, because of your back, right?
Yeah.
We met a few people that we knew, and some of our listeners. I know Matt Lawrence and Paul Richards attended on this Saturday. So it was great to see you guys. I know we didn't get any games in this time, but always a pleasure to see you guys. Anyone else that we met along the way?
Simon and Sarah.
Simon and Sarah, yes.
Simon was obviously we met him last year at the event.
We did.
During the rum rush scandal.
We did. He witnessed the rum rush scandal.
He did. And he scarpered quickly, which I don't blame him for.
No.
Because without knowing these people, I would have done the same.
Yeah.
But
I think it's time for me to leave.
Yeah.
Nice to see Simon again.
It was, yeah. They were on our table, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
For Saturday evening.
Yeah, and we also, Joel and Claire from the Devon Dice podcast, friends of the pod. And friends of every convention that we seem to go to, because they're always there and they're always a good laugh to game with and socialise with. So yeah, it's always a joy for us to do. I think other people will probably talk about the games.
There were plenty of other people that I think we've seen before and all that lot as well. So if we haven't called you out,
sorry,
because we've forgotten you and don't like you very much.
Called you out as well. Sounds like
they called you out for your bullshit.
It's a little bit threatening there, Adrian.
No, just we've given shout outs to everyone else.
Yeah.
If you're a dog person, it was fantastic because there was literally a dog on hand because everyone took their dogs there. So I think there's 7 dogs?
There's the most dogs I've seen at a board gaming convention ever.
Yeah.
In like this tiny little room.
Yeah.
And every time you turned around, there was a dog looking at you like, please pet me. And you're like, yes.
Yeah. You went to get a drink and you had to pet about 7 dogs on the way in and then on the way back. And then when one barked, they all started kicking.
That was one thing. When one would bark, and then suddenly it'd be like, and they would all set off, and then they'd be quiet again.
Yeah.
You'd forget until you got to pet the doggies. You're like, doggies, and then suddenly, and off it goes again.
I mean, if you hate dogs, you might not enjoy that.
Yeah, I guess.
But I like dogs. I think they're cool
Yeah.
and cute. So for me, it was not an issue whatsoever. But I think it's quite nice that you can bring them. And if that's a factor, I'd love to go to this weekend, but I have to put the dog somewhere or whatever. You can just bring your dog along.
It was well-behaved dogs, though, wasn't it? So the title was sort of well-behaved dogs welcome. And yes, there was the odd barking here or there, but there was no horrible behaviour, no snarling really or anything.
No.
Right, so let's get on to the games that we played at this weekend.
Games? What games? We just played with dogs and ate food and.
I mean, that sounds like a great weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Davey just held up the pillar.
But
That's what it looked like anyway.
Yeah. At any moment, I was always leaning on something. So if there's any photos of me, I'm always like leaning on the table or leaning on the wall.
did a gangster lean.
Yeah, exactly. Talking to people leaning across the bar as far as possible.
So let's kick it off then. Who wants to start? What are you two?
I'll start if you want.
Yeah, go on.
So the first game we kind of got to the table is Dune Imperium Uprising, which I think I've mentioned before.
You've done an expose on it on a previous episode, yeah.
But we've got it to the table a lot more now, and I still think my opinion holds valid. What did you think of it, JP? Because it was your first playthrough as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I've been trying to put off playing it. And it's weird, isn't it? You think I'd be actually rushed to play. I love Dune Imperium. It's a great game. Nothing wrong with it. Got the Rise of Ix, got Immortality, played it loads of times, loved the game. So I was kind of like, I was a bit knocked, to be honest, when this got announced, and the way that this product is, it kind of, I don't know why it pisses me off, but it does, because of, it is effectively an upgrade pack, is how I see it.
That's how we feel it should have been sold as an upgrade pack to then slot into the already made Dune.
But it's like, I've been putting it off and just not kind of jumping in straight away. And then an opportunity came to play it. Obviously, the weekend we played it. And then I was like, oh, God, this is better. And this is one of them annoying little moments like, yeah, you're right, it is better, I like it. I mean, I was always going to like it. It's not fundamentally any different to Dune Imperium. It's Dune Imperium with some extra bits.
Yeah.
But I do like the changes that they've added with the spies and the combat conflict cards that are kind of tweaked with how you get VPs of matching pairs.
I think that's probably the best bit, weirdly. And it's such a small thing, but it means that combat, So if you don't know, basically on the combat cards now they have pictures, and it's either an Ornithopter, a dagger, a Morlabdib, so the little desert mouse, or a Chris knife.
Yeah.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
So it's now, and they're different colours, and basically it's the bottom left of the actual combat card, and you have to collect 2 of those, and you flip 2 of them over, and then you get a VP.
Oh, okay.
So it actually kind of dictates the battle a little bit, and you can see who maybe wants this a little bit more before you've even started putting troops in, because you're like, that person's got the desert mouse already, they might want this desert mouse to just come out to get another VP. So it's already started to put these thoughts, or like these games into play. And then the other thing is, second place is actually usually a better reward than first place. So the first place is the card. First place, you're getting the card that you want for the VPs more than you actually want the reward. The second place reward is better. So sometimes you can pretend you're going for a fight and then back out. Or
interesting.
It's added less randomness to what encounter you definitely want to go into, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to play it, I'll be honest. It's one of those where, again, like yourself, I've got the base and I've picked up Ix, and I've not even opened my copy of Ix yet because I've played with you guys. And it's one of those where I kind of don't want to play it but do want to play it, and it's not like we talked about it before. It felt like it was going to be like Great Western Trail to Great Western Trail New Zealand. But New Zealand is such a change that you couldn't fundamentally upgrade it with a pack, I don't think. Whereas from what you guys are saying, this could be upgraded with just a new board and an extra deck of cards or something like that.
Yeah,
100%.
Which feels a bit different at that point.
Yeah, I suppose the whole deck of... You have to take out all the combat cards and the whole deck of normal cards you have to remove. So therefore, it is a whole new game. But a lot of the old cards still probably could have worked. And they could have incorporated the new upgrades with more graft, etc. Like what's in the Immortality.
But even so, right? Even
like the spies, etc.
But even so, like, if I understand the rationale of putting out a new set of Imperium cards, maybe for balance reasons or whatever. But even they do say you can merge them in with the old ones, which is exactly what I've done. Spoiler alert: I've bought this, by the way. So yeah, I think it's the way that the product is a barrier, I think, for many people. And I think if it was just a case of, look, it's the 2.0 version, and we've tweaked some bits, I've added some bits, and here's a new board, here's some extra cards, here's some extra components for like the spies and things, here's some worms. Worms are cool, right? Where were the worms in the original game? Now they're here, they're in.
Yes.
First player token.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. And now you can send them into battle.
Yeah.
And you get double rewards from the
little droopy worms.
Yeah, little droopy worms. But I have purchased it, as we said. I have kind of relented, and then I've kind of treated it as, it is an upgrade pack. Just forget about the fact that I've got duplicate components on, the wooden meeples, and forget about, a lot of that. But think about, actually, you've got more water resources now, and I've got more Solari resources and spice. And I've got the deluxe box, and I was trying to basically see, can I fit all of this in the deluxe box? And you can. It's a squeeze. And I haven't had to chuck anything away or move anything out, and there's a slight bit of lift lid, but it's doable.
And you can't sleeve cards, I'm guessing.
I don't sleeve cards. So if you sleeve, you're knackered.
Yeah.
But for an unsleever like me...
You think after being scorched once, you might sleeve your cards.
Especially for Dune Imperium.
Yeah. Fool me once. But in fairness, that wasn't my fault.
No, it wasn't your fault. No. Well, maybe this pass. Now it's been like a year. We can pass a little bit of blame on.
What to
you
me?
got me really excited and shouted at me about something, and I gesticulated my glass over.
I thought it was my fault. That's fine. So yeah, no, I did enjoy it. I've enjoyed that particular play. I thought the game itself. We didn't actually have many worms come out. From memory, I don't think we.
No, we didn't. It was a really quick game. It's the quickest game I've played. Ever. And JP just pushed the game on, and I had to pretty much just try and chase him. You were snowballing the victory points, and then I thought I just picked him out of it, and he had a card.
Yeah.
That got you an intrigue card. That got you a VP, so it still ended the game anyway. So there was a very roller coaster of emotions. It was good fun though.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and just cemented. Because I've been holding off for it for a while, for the same reasons you said, Adrian, now I've kind of played it. It's reignited my excitement for the game again. It's I really want to play this more. So actually, I'm really intrigued about the 6-player variant.
Yeah, it'd be good to play.
Because it's like a team game where you've got the Emperor versus Maldeep, right?
Yeah.
And then you basically play as a team. There's some interesting mechanics on how that works. So I'm just keen to give it a go. Whether it's any good, who knows? Because there's nothing wrong with the base game at all. But it's nice that it's in there.
I did see some mention of certain characters who are a bit OP in the team game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just ban those then.
So yeah, there was some workarounds and stuff like that. But I'd seen a couple of comments, and I was like, when you just see the one, and you're like, yeah, that's fine. Then you see a second one, and you're like, hold on a second, maybe there is an issue with it. So haven't played it myself, haven't even played Uprising, but just one probably to keep an eye on if you're doing the team. So you guys grouped up as a 4 first thing, didn't you?
We got there a little bit early, I think, so that's
I was in the room when you decided, and I got left on my Todd.
Oh.
Right? And
you said you didn't want to play anything at that time?
No, I didn't. I walked off and then came back, and you guys were all as a foursome deciding you were playing a game. So luckily Mark...
I feel bad now.
I feel bad now. I didn't realise that was the case.
Luckily, Mark Ellis?
Yeah, Mark.
Saved me. So he agreed to play Point City, which apparently is the the in-game in his gaming group at the moment. And I've played it before, and it was fine, I'll be honest. Played it again, still can see the puzzle in it. So you've got a little grid of cards, and you're picking cards that are next to each other. Some are worth basically purchase power, and some are the city you're building up. Mark absolutely smashed me. So you can tell that he's played a few times before, because just as I was like, I've built my nice engine and now I'm going to go into points, he was like, done. Okay. Like beat me by like 40 points out of 60 or something. I can't remember what it was now, but absolutely smashed me. I still enjoy it. I can still see what the puzzle is there. It just felt like it was way overhyped before it landed. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my playthrough, and I was grateful to be rescued and actually get a game in, which was good. But yeah, it just felt really overhyped originally. But I think if you go into it not having heard hype about it, you'd find a fun, interesting, engaging and quick game. The rules overlay is very small on that game, so
nice.
It's really fun. And then afterwards we had a little bit of time left, and I've been enamoured by Tussi, Mussie, which is an Elizabeth Hargrave button shy game. And it's really simple, just one goes face up, one goes face down. You decide you draw 2 cards, decide which card goes face up, which card goes face down. Your opponent picks. If they pick the face down one, it goes into your, I'm going to say, arrangement. If they pick the face up one, it goes into their bouquet, and all of it is part of your hand. And some cards will say +1 victory point for everything in your bouquet, or +1 for each red card next to it. And whether it's in your bouquet or arrangement, it will be next to it. Because you kind of put them out from left to right. It's really quick, really fun, really simple. And yeah, we just played a few rounds of that. And then other people, I think, started turning up. So we got a good couple of games in together. So thank you very much for rescuing me, because none of my podcast friends thought about including me. So, it's nice.
Well, in my head, we asked you for some strange reason.
But
it can be with that 5-6 player mode.
Anyway, so yeah, we could have tried it out, couldn't we?
We could have tried it out. I don't know why. Well, I suppose none of us knew the rules for that, so it's a bit different, isn't it? Learning the rules for a game. In
my defence, it was not my game with Dune Imperium.
No, it wasn't.
I just turned up and played.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm over it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sounds like
doesn't sound like it.
So over it.
So over this right now.
He's written it down. He's written it in his notes. He is not over this.
I'm not over it.
Yeah.
You said because it's going to be a while, I had to make notes. So
I did.
Yeah, we haven't actually mentioned
by podcasters. Point 1.
Good man.
Because we haven't actually mentioned it was a little bit ago now, and that's mainly because we've had a lot of podcasts in between.
Yeah.
It's been my fault mainly, and we just had life things as well.
Sickness, work, the usual things, the joys of life.
Got nearly a month ago, right?
It was nearly a month ago, yeah.
So we've made copious notes,
yes.
But we promised that we'll do this episode to ourselves. To
Adrian sketched on his walls, "They abandoned me once."
Do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one because I think Rob covered it on a previous episode not long back, but we all had a little game of Furnace at the event, which is exactly the game that Rob was talking about in terms of our play, and also Taz, I think, was his first play of
He really
Furnace.
enjoyed it, yeah.
But yeah, just again, great game, isn't
Love
it?
it.
I don't know what else to say. Just it's always a joy to play that game.
I think I need the expansion though.
It is good.
They can make it 5. Well, and also to make it 5 player, because sometimes I took Furnace with me, and there was 5 of us, and it's like, oh, yeah, I don't have the expansion. It was Joel that had the expansion because we got his version out, and it's like, oh yes, we can't play this. I'll put this to the side, but because it's just a nice, fun, quick game, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just needed that kind of hour. We had an hour before dinner, right? And we said, what can we play? It can just fill in that gap, and then I think you came back with Furnace. Perfect. Job done. Let's wheel it out. So I'm really glad Rob enjoyed it. I never know with Rob. I think you mentioned this on the AI episode not long back. That he's going through a bit of a journey in his gaming and hobby.
Euros.
Yeah. So he's trying new things, and it's really nice to kind of see him just branch out and try games. He's not going to love them all, but normally he's just dungeon crawlers, isn't it? I'm just going to keep
the
dungeon
natural crawler. Step. I always find like dungeon crawlers, you're usually your first game that you play a lot of, and then suddenly Euros start tickling. Well, at least I've found for a lot of people, Euros start tickling this itch, and you're like, oh wow, this I can do some cool things here, and then it clicks, and suddenly you're playing Voidfall till 4 a.m. in the morning. It's going, oh yes.
You setting up Voidfall till 4 a.m. in the
Yes,
morning.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's either that, or I tend to find people go in Catan and then like Ticket to Ride and kind of that route.
that's
It's not
the
the
other-
dungeon. It's kind of the other way into it. And as a flawless segue, my other game, or one of my other games I played on the Friday, was Ticket to Ride Europe. So
I saw you play that.
So the Curlies had it, but hadn't played it. They played base Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
And Europe doesn't really add a lot, but what it adds is just it makes it slightly less mean because you've got train stations, which is an option that allows you to extend your route, kind of thing. And it's got tunnels, which adds an uncertainty element of have I got enough trains to build this out? Because it's just set collection.
Yeah.
I've got a route with 4 red spaces on it. I must have 4 red cards in hand. And with a tunnel, you flip some cards over from the top of the deck, and if those cards come up red, you have to pay for more with more cards. So it just adds that level of uncertainty with it. So they really seem to enjoy it. I've played it a bunch, and I'll be honest, I think I'm kind of over Ticket to Ride. It's a very nice puzzle, but what I like is the small box versions.
Yeah.
Because you get that same hit of quick card collection and route building in like 20 minutes rather than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But glad they enjoyed it, and I think, for me, it's definitely the better of the two out of base Ticket to Ride and Europe. But I think if you like meaner games, you might like the base one.
Europe's the only Ticket to Ride I've played. My parents have got it. They've got Europe, and then they recently got Japan as well. But I haven't played Japan.
That's just a map, I think.
Is that just a
Europe.
map? Is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've not played. Still haven't played Ticket to Ride.
It's good. It's good. It's a nice family game.
It's harmless, is the way. Like even if you're not enamoured with it, I can quite happily still play that game and not think to myself, "Oh, I really dislike this."
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot to hate. There's just, I think that for me the puzzle is kind of done, and other things. But I've had plenty of people go, let's just play Ticket to Ride. Yeah, cool.
It's quite nice to sit there and kind of play and have a chat and do lots of other things as well. You know, it's not one. It still requires some thought, which is why it's enjoyable, but it doesn't require so much that you have to focus completely on the game. What did we play after dinner? So we went for the mix of curries, the trifacta of curry.
Curry and stroganoff.
It was stroganoff as well, wasn't it?
It was.
I think it was like a tea or a Rogan Josh, because it was like tomatoey, and then there was a korma, and then a stroganoff.
Beef stroganoff, I think.
Yeah, there we go.
There's rice.
The weirdest mix ever, but it was lovely.
And a hummusy thing that looked like a vegetable patch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It literally did look like a vegetable patch, didn't it? Yeah.
Apparently that was really nice.
Yeah.
I left.
Yeah,
You left.
I'm not a hummus fan.
No.
But yeah, so it was just funny watching people come, because I always just went stroganoff, right, with the potato or whatever it was.
Me.
And then watched everyone else come back with this strange array of different like food goops, but like different brown colour browns, and
All the sauces blending
Yeah.
together, a curry and a stroganoff mixing.
It was quite funny to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, all really tasty. I was quite, because when someone says a buffet, you think, oh, that's been flashed really quickly, but it was really well done.
It
really
was nice. It was nice. Yeah, so after dinner we played Merlin
We did.
with Becky and Taz.
Yeah. Thank you for convincing me to agree to play it that night.
Yeah.
Because I was having none of it originally.
And you really enjoyed it, I think.
It's really good.
It is a good game. It's pretty much a roll and move. But
I've heard this.
it's a roll and move, but it's got basically a rondel in the middle. And this rondel has different colour like houses. And the houses there, you've got meeples from your own kind of, what's the word, feudal state, say, or your feudal kingdom, where you're trying to influence Merlin's court, and you want to be the next one to sit at the round table. So you see the other houses, and you have to send your baroness.
No idea. There's 4 different characters.
Yeah.
There's the shieldy one, there's the bannery one.
There's the influence, who I think is the baroness, and the
Brave Sir Robin.
brave Sir Robin.
Thought
Yeah.
it was, yeah. Bravely ran away.
Shut up! So yeah, the shield, the builder, the baroness, and the flag carrier. And basically your flags give you little abilities to do in your turn. The influence cubes give you VPs at a certain scoring phase, and it's done by the person that owns the most, adding up the amount in there. So there's a nice little kind of area control that's going on in each one of these as well. And the builder is another little section off of the board. It's a bit of a table hog, where you have to go and there's like hexes, and by building a castle there, you gain VPs for area control over here as well. And it's a roller move, but it's got a really clever way in which you move, because you'll roll 3 dice, and you roll of your colour, and you roll 1 white dice. The white dice is Merlin, and with Merlin you get these little staffs, and with Merlin, when you move him, you can use a staff and get a double action of where you are. So you get double action on that spot. And with your normal dice, you can spend flags and have little fun moving bits, but you can kind of look around and think when you want to use Merlin, like who's going to use Merlin, and then all of this trickery happens. People are moving here, they're everywhere, taking other spots, and it was a really good 4-player game because the turns aren't too long. You can kind of plan your turn. Not much will change it other than maybe Merlin moves around. That changes things and that keeps it interesting. And you have like little goal cards that continually flow, which give you little objectives to do, as well as at the end of the turn you have to kind of fight off these enemies who are trying to burn down your castle, and you've got to get the little shield to deflect them, otherwise you get minus VPs. There's also a little fight over Excalibur and a little fight over the Grail, because the Grail gives you majority control in an area, and Excalibur gives you points for killing all the enemies at your gate. So I'm intrigued to see what the expansion brings as well, because there's a
big box, isn't
what's
there?
her name?
What, Guinevere?
No, the evil one.
Oh, Morgana.
There's a Morgana expansion where it brings in some other type of apples and other objectives, and there's also another expansion which I can't remember what that one has. That's why they have the Merlin big box, because Paul sold me this copy. It's the only reason he got rid of it is because he got the big box version of it. So he's like, I don't need the other version anymore. So I want to give it a go. I've really enjoyed Stefan Field's other games. So Castle Burgundy was good fun. And to be fair, that's the only one I played, so I was like, I need to play more.
Yeah, I was exactly the same boat, and you can feel that same DNA as Castle Burgundy. Still think Castle Burgundy does it better.
Yeah, I think Castle Burgundy does do it better. Yeah.
But you've got these dice. It's which order do you use them in? As you said, there's like this tug of war with Merlin, and you're trying to hold off until it's, you've rolled a 4. I want to get Merlin 4 spaces from that. So you're really hoping people. And at the same time, you're using your dice in whatever order to move your person around the rondel. And that felt very Castles of Burgundy. Like, it's got dice, which will dictate it, but you have ways of mitigating it. Some of the abilities allow you to go the wrong way or turn the dice over. So you've got whatever the -7 is. So 7 minus 3 is 4. So if it's a 3 on one side, it'll be 4 on the other, for instance. So it's got all of those kind of dice mitigation parts in it that are in Castles of Burgundy, and I've got Hamburg waiting for me at home as well that I still need to get to the table. But I'm so far I've loved every Feld I've played, but as I say, it's only the 2, and I've watched just a bunch of playthroughs of his other games and think I'll like them all.
I do want to play a load of the Cities collections as well. There's Amsterdam I want to play, and what was the other one? I think it was
Marrakesh, was it?
Marrakesh, that's the other one.
That looks good. Cusco looks good.
Cusco,
So that looks good. So really, really happy, because on that evening I was like, I don't want to learn another new game. I'm feeling knackered. This is like a mid-weight Euro. I'm sure there must be something better, and then we just couldn't decide. And it's like, let's do Merlin. Okay. And really glad, really enjoyed it.
Good
fun.
Yeah, Becky won as well.
Becky won.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Smashed us with by 10 points.
Quite
a big gap, yeah. So, but I think Becky enjoyed it more than she thought she would as well.
Yeah.
Becky was like, actually, when I first looked at this, I thought, oh my God. And I think that rondel does, as soon as you look at it, you think, oh, what are we playing?
Yeah.
But then as soon as you start, it's not too complicated. There's a lot of copying of symbols. So there's not as many as you think you would have to learn when you first look at the board. So there's a lot of duplications. And once you kind of get that and get into the flow, it was quite a quick game.
So, still talking about Friday, kind of getting to the end of the day or end of the evening for me, and we cracked out Dice Forge.
Nice.
Which was just, I don't want anything heavy. I don't want to do a Davey and play castles till 7 a.m. Or whatever it was, a full board game.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. Castles of Burgundy, you fiend.
I know.
And then we just kind of thought, Dice Forge, let's wheel that out. So we had a nice 3-player. For those that don't know what it is, it's basically Lego dice.
It is. It's fun.
Lego dice, the game, and you.
Meh.
You don't like it, do you?
It's just missing something.
It's missing the expansion.
I think it could be really good. I was like really excited to be placing these little faces on the dice, and then I'd roll them and go,
I didn't roll what I picked.
that's all right. Yeah, that's all right as well. And I just felt a little bit underwhelmed by the whole experience. Like, the excitement of putting the thing on the dice was more exciting than the actual game to me, and then that started to like mess with my head a little when I was playing Dice Forge.
No, it's fair. I mean, I quite enjoy it for what it is. It's on the lighter end. And the kind of theme of it is it's all kind of like heroes and gods and Greek mythology kind of thing, but it really doesn't matter like most kind of games. But you kind of on your turn is that you have these 2 dice, you have the light die and the dark die, and you can either purchase die faces that have costs, and you can basically use the die face to pop out the original one on the dice and then replace it like a Lego study thing that goes in. So you can kind of go, you know what, I want to build this dice to be a bit more, give me more economy in sun shards or moon shards or victory points or money or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But so there's a little interesting choice of, obviously you've got limited space on a D6, and which dice do you put it on? And sometimes you get certain faces that will say ×2 of the other dice, so you kind of figuring that out as well. So that's kind of one thing that you can do, on the other action is that you go onto the kind of the main board and spend your moon and sun shards and get these cards and abilities, and some of them will be like engine building stuff, some will be one-off effects or just straight up VPs for the end of the game. And it's quite nice in the fact that no matter whose turn it is you roll your dice and you get the stuff. So you're always doing something regardless. It's not a long game, 3 or 4 players, it's done within an hour, if that. And it's a bit like what you said before about Ticket to Ride. It's just nice.
Yeah, inoffensive.
It's inoffensive.
It's worse.
It offends me.
But apart from Davey, it offends him.
I don't know why. I feel like I should enjoy it as well, and everyone else does. But it's one of those games. Everyone has one of those games, and for me, it was Dice Forge.
Yeah.
It's 90% toy factor, I think, that game.
Yeah.
I do agree. The building of the dice and the making the dice and deciding, which face am I going to pop off? Not actually the rolling the dice or doing. That's not really why the game is as fun as it is. If it was you upgrade this dice to this dice and you just pull different dice out of a tray as you upgraded, then I would not play that game again, I don't think. It's just the fun of pop. I really want to play Dice Realms for the same reason, because that's another game where you've got...
It's a bit heavier though.
It's a lot heavier by all accounts, but it's exactly the same idea is you're just popping faces out and replacing them to do a Civ kind of game or whatever it is.
Well, Euro Civ, isn't it? Yeah. I think Curly bought Dice Realms and then subsequently I think he's selling it. So
possibly.
I don't think he's even played it yet.
I think he got a good deal on it, and then it was like, I have to have this at UKGE, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then he got such a good deal on it, he picked it up, but then I don't think he's ever actually been that enamoured by it or wanted to play it. So it was just such a good deal, he had to buy it.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah,
it is a lot of plastic pieces in that box as well. So
we nearly played it once. We got the box out open, started to go for the rule book, and I think he just went, can't be arsed. Like, I don't know, it's a bit too much on whatever it was we were doing, so we played something else.
That's fair enough. I'm intrigued. I think those that toy factor can elevate certain games.
Yeah. I think without that, it wouldn't be much going on, is there? Because there isn't really.
And I do understand that sometimes getting a game out and it being more of a hassle to unpack than actually play can be off-putting.
Yeah.
I've got Void for such a like, I need to get it, I love this game. And then every time I went to play it, I took it with me to Full Board and to Devon Board Game Weekend, and I was just too daunted to get out of both places, just being like, oh yeah, we'll play it, and I go, yeah,
I don't want to set it up.
yeah. Might take it with me to the 24-hour event, because at least then I've got 24 hours. I might just go, yeah, I'll set it up. There we go.
Hegemony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know how to play this game. I know how to play this game very well. So I know how to play. I know the rules well, rather than trying to sound like I'm bragging about playing Voidfall.
I think Voidfall is, for me, it's just not a convention game. Like,
it's not, is it? It's too big.
It's too big.
It takes up my whole bag, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I can't fit other games in.
It's too hefty. The setup is a bitch. And even if you get people to help you, it's still a bitch. And I think it just takes up a lot of time in your convention day. But there we go. So that kind of sums up my Friday, really.
Yeah, so I played another game. The Late Night Crew, me, Joel and Taz, played In the Hall of the Mountain King, which is a game I picked up at full board. And it's a game I wanted to play for a while. I looked at the Kickstarter and it looks quite interesting. It's unique in the way that you get your resources via a cascading kind of tableau, which you build into like a pyramid. And the only way of getting those resources on there is to put another troll above your kind of moot of trolls at the bottom. And you'll get the ones that the card's touching underneath, as well as itself. But you can't, when it gets the resources, it puts the resources on the card. So you've got to spend off of the card first, before you can then cascade another troll onto there to get it. So it's got a nice like push and pull of resources. And then on the board, it has a very puzzly kind of, you've got to work out the most efficient route to build your little cave system through. Because you've got little blocks that require hammers, which are the resources to destroy. You've got resources down, which when you build over them, you'll get the resources. You've got little spells, where when you get crystals, you can do spells at the start of your turn, along with workshops that if your tunnel touches, you get a workshop, and you get that workshop as many times as you've covered the entrances. So if you cover it completely, you can do a workshop up to 4 times. And then, on top of that, so on top of this little kind of cave complex you're working with, you've got plinths and statues out on the board as well. And there's another little puzzle on top of that, which is the colours of the board. So it's got I think it's like a dark red on the outside, or like a lighter red on the outside, and then it kind of goes yellow, orange, and in the middle it's got a different colour. And depending on where you socket your plinth, because some tiles have a little hole, if you put statue on, you can lock that in and you'll get modifiers depending on what colour your statue's in. If you get it towards the middle, it's going to be worth more. The trick is, the different colour statues are locked into onto that plinth. No one else can build that colour statue there.
Right.
So you're kind of watching what other people are doing with statues, and I think it's a game that actually probably get better the more times you play it and the more times you learn it. But it is enjoyable in the first experience, but you're kind of working the puzzle out. Once you've worked out the puzzle, then you're going to be watching what other people are doing with their puzzle, and that's where the game will come into its own. Because when you're first you're just trying to work out the resource puzzle, everything else to start with, and that added extra bit of you can't lock in the statue there can give you some feel bad moments, because you're like, whoa, I've worked out, I've got this colour, I've got this plinth, I've got this statue I'm going to be moving over, you move it over there, and oh, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, because if you look here where the point bit is, you can't build that colour on that bit. Oh no.
It's been doing it for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Whereas, I think Taz ran into that a couple of times, and Joel was just pretty tired at this point, so I think he was like, I'll play it again, but it was very late in the evening, and yeah, I do enjoy the game. I don't know if it's going to be a keeper, but I think it's one I want to play a couple more times and see how well people find it, and because it is a bit different. That's the biggest thing. It's got the resource generation. It's got a nice little polyomino puzzle on the board. It's pretty fun. It definitely has a little bit of depth there, which once you get isn't actually too much depth, but then it's kind of got the competition aspect there as well, which is why I can see a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate it, and that's going to be the reason why. But yeah, we finished that about 3 o'clock in the morning, I think, and then went to bed. Yeah, I think so. About 3 o'clock in the morning, went to bed.
How sensible.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, the one story I've not actually told, and it's just popped back into my mind because it was a month ago.
Oh, gee. It's your love shack.
It's my love shack, yeah, is when I checked in to the hotel. And I spoke to Tom. So Tom's one of the staff that works at the hotel, nice guy, and remember him from last year. And I was like, all right, Tom, so just remind me, we've got a twin room, right? And he went, no, you've got a double. And I went, I thought he was joking. I thought he was winding me on. I said, you serious? He went, yeah, you booked a double. And then I looked and oh crap, I've booked a double. What an idiot. And then I'm sharing a room with Rob. So I said, Rob, I've messed up, mate. He said, well, what's up? So we got to share a bed. We've done worse things. me and Rob, we go.
It wasn't just the bed though, was it?
No, it's everything.
Yeah, it was a 4-poster bed.
It was.
Yeah, don't leave the.
It was a grand 4-poster bed, very nice.
Yeah, it looked very romantic.
Very romantic.
It was very romantic. I think we took a photo hugging together on there.
Yeah.
But
I was stuck in the disabled room, which part of me thought. Did someone phone ahead and go, yeah, it's back to bring back? Because I was glad I had the disabled room in all, because literally it had lots of handles that I could like Spider-Man my way to the toilet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spider-Man to the toilet.
But there you are with the 4-poster bed as well. I swear someone must have rang in advance when
I think they switched it.
JP and Rob need a little nudge. Can you just give them a little double, please?
Yeah. So we decided that we didn't want to stay up until 3 a.m. and we both walked off hand in hand to bed.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Started him. Why do birds suddenly appear?
Thing is, we've shared a room so many times.
Yeah.
I think in Essen we was in a twin room, but we might as well have been in the same bed because the gap.
We were pretty close in that.
The gap was like 6 inches apart of the bed, if that. So it's like, well, at that point you might as well be in a double.
It was boiling hot in the room, so you couldn't sleep with any clothes on.
No. Well, that's enough about your Essen adventures.
What?
But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun moment. And I'm like, I don't really care. And Rob's like, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
So we just cuddled and went to sleep. So yeah.
Hey, cuddle, just nice.
Yeah.
I was up on the second floor, so I had a little single room because I originally wasn't going to go, was I?
No, you were a late edition, weren't you?
I'd said, look, I've got to budget my money. I've got a £900 car repair due
that you didn't know.
I didn't know about due in March. So no, I decided to kind of ration out what I was going to and what I wasn't, and being sensible. And then it got to like 3 weeks before, and unfortunately Marcus couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So he offered up his room, and I had been a good boy and saved more than I thought I would. And I thought, having completely FOMO'd all the way through the Torquay board game weekend, I was like, no, I'm gonna now put my name down for it, and I was very fortunate to get it because I know there were other people asking about it as well. So I ended up in a little single room, like on the second floor. There's kind of like it's kind of got like one of those old country houses where it's got window, like the odd window on the second floor, and those are all little rooms. But yeah, before that I played a bit of Viking See-saw, which I think is my new go-to, like 20-minute filler game that everyone seems to love because the components are beautiful. And
they see-saw, or did they see-saw?
They see-saw.
They see-saw.
Yeah, not saucy.
Not saucy.
But see-saw. And Secret Identity, which is my kind of new sort of So Clover Just One-esque game where people who perhaps aren't great with words and word association, it's just picture association instead. But it's strange how some people's brains just don't work with word association as well as pictures and stuff like that. So that's my new one. But yeah, we played a game of each of that.
Nice.
And then that was my Friday done.
Nice.
The Saturday then.
So we started off with Fry Up.
That was lovely.
Yeah, it was good. Good way to start the day.
It's always a good way to start any convention, isn't it?
And
Fry Up.
Yeah, first game we rocked up into was a game I've been wanting to play for ages, which Adrian did teach. A very light game of
The Gallerist.
The Gallerist.
Funny story though, we have to tell before Adrian goes through this, is Rob joined us for this game.
I did think, I was like, oh, Rob's doing a Lacerda.
Yeah, Rob's trying a Lacerda. I'm like, wow, he's really leveling up.
He was like really excited. He's like really wanted to try this.
Yeah, and he kept saying about art. The art sounds like, or looks like Broken Sword.
And he kept showing me the pic because I was like, I don't know if I know Broken Sword or not. Yeah. So he kept showing me the pictures, and I was like, yeah, no, that's the one I'm thinking of. That's nothing like the Gallerist, but yeah, Rob, yeah, fair enough. Like, sure, I don't see it myself, but if you think that looks like that, that's all good by me. Yeah.
And then he turns up and went,
"This is Art Society."
This is nothing like I thought. And Art Society.
What game were you thinking about, Rob? Oh, Art Society. Yeah, no, this is
so
nothing
different.
Like that. Yeah.
Very different.
It's about art.
Yeah, it's a similar theme. Well,
no,
it's sort of. Well, one's about collecting art and one's about selling it.
They're both about art in some way. Yeah.
I botched the teach massively. It felt like, and I definitely got some bits wrong. And even after the game, I found out I got some bits wrong.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
You only do the thing after the first coloured stack of...
Oh, it's both the same game. The Reina Knitzer one is the same one that Oink did, but they did a version of it that fits into a tiny box like that called Modern Art.
Modern Art, that's it.
Yeah. So it's both the same game, but there's not that many.
There's more than we think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you only do the intermediate scoring at the end of the first stack of coloured
and not
each one. The reason why I thought each one was because if you use the expansion that I was waiting specifically for, you put 3 different tiles out.
Yeah.
But it slowly scores the once. And I was like, oh, okay, so it must score, but no, not quite. But
so we kind of played a little bit of an easy mode because we got extra stuff in between.
We all got it, didn't we? So.
Yeah, it's true.
But, I enjoyed it again. It's only my second playthrough, and I had fun, and it's still definitely top of my Lacerda list.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's up there for me. I really enjoyed it. To start with, it wasn't clicking. It took a little bit to go in that game. Took me like a couple of turns, and then I was like, okay, now.
A couple? Just two turns. And
but usually I would look at it and I kind of understand at least what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I didn't know, like, where you got on the wheel was a lot harder to determine where I'm getting on the wheel and kind of where it's flowing. But once that flow, I understood it. It flows really nicely. It doesn't limit you on any of your turns. There's obviously you give other people more actions, which is probably where also it frees up, or where you can kind of get a lot of your economy going. Is you're like, well, I think this person wants to go here, so I'm going to go here, so I can get my extra actions and do all of these, which is quite nice. I like that. Well, it's got a lot of Kanban and Weather Machine in there.
Yes.
It's like an amalgamation of those two games, in my opinion. That's what it felt like the most out of all of them, because it didn't really feel like a Lisboa at all.
Or on Mars.
On Mars.
Which is why Adrian likes it.
Yeah, which is why Adrian likes it. It was more very much Kanban, and I think it took all the best aspects of Kanban, best aspects of Weather Machine, and put them together, and that made a really fun game. I still prefer Weather Machine, in my opinion. I know I'm out there with, compared to a lot of people, but Gallerist was up there, definitely.
Yeah, I enjoy my play of it. For me, I don't think it's up there, but I would absolutely play it again. It is the thing when you go, I rank Lacerdas, and if any games that end up towards the bottom of that list, doesn't mean it's bad at all. They're all great games. So I'm really glad I played it. Shush, Adrian. I'm really, really glad I got to play, because it's like the final big box Eagle Griffin, big box game. I think I played.
Haven't played yet.
Yeah, so now
it looks really nice, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
table.
It's a lovely aesthetic.
I know you're a bit torn.
No, I really like it. What sold me was the clean look, because it's got graphic design there, because it's Ian O'Toole, so of course it's got graphic design. But it's a nice, clean, simple look, and I feel like the design is one of the cleanest.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Which for me,
the design reminds me of Galactic Cruise. I know it's because of both Ian O'Toole, but he's obviously done a lot more, and those two seem the most similar board layout wise.
Yeah, and as I said in the previous episode, I really like Galactic Cruise, and I think it's because it reminds me of that. Once you get your brain around the fact that what you're really trying to do is commission art cheap, pump up the reputation of those artists, and then sell it off for good money, and what everyone else is trying to do in between that is trying to work out who's going to get pumped up their reputation the most and buy that art. And then you need to do the weird auction bit, which I think is probably the bit that stands out to one side, because the idea of selling and displaying art and this artist thing all feels quite self-contained.
Yeah.
And then you've got this weird end of game auction thing that maybe doesn't quite...
That you looked into.
Yeah, which I looked into. I thought I hadn't achieved like 2 of my things on the quests on my card, and then it was just like, oh, an auction happens. You did the most over here, so you get first pick. And I was like, oh, that's the exact thing I need. I'll take that one. Oh, there you go. There's like 30 or 40 points right there.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most abstract part, but I think like Galactic Cruise, everything else makes sense. How you get onto that wheel of spinning, sort of, what can I buy first? What does it cost? Which is most efficient, I think, is a little bit harder than some other games, but I think the flow and how the theme fits in is probably on that level with Galactic Cruise, and probably the smoothest of the Lacerda games, to me at least.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense, and I quite like the push and the pull of customers. Viewers and...
Oh, yeah.
You mean
collectors,
pink, brown and white?
Pink, brown and white, yeah.
Collectors and...
Was it investors?
Investors and something else.
Influencers.
General people.
It was influencers, something
Influence,
like that.
yeah, it was influence.
Instagrammers.
Yeah, Instagrammers, and that I really like that little mechanic. It's such a little thing to put in there, but it's very un-Lacerda-y. I can't really think of any game where he's got a bit more of a push and pull, where another player influences you directly like that.
He's got other, because it's ultimately an area control to some extent, because what you're trying to do is spend those tickets to pull the people towards you.
Yeah.
And then lock them in, and then there's things that take it away from you.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to do. And there are
Inventors, there's a new one coming out in.
Well, it's being delivered as we speak.
That one has
control.
a similar aspect to Gallerist with its meeples, but I can't think any of his other games that have that.
Where the machine has the area control bit on that left-hand side with the robots and all that kind of stuff.
But it doesn't have, like, I can't directly influence your robot that you've spent there, whereas it had a nice thing where sometimes someone would use a ticket to pull their brown one within just the lobby of their gallery, and then someone else moves it out, and you're like, that's just screwed my whole turn there. But
yeah, it's a nice thing that you don't see in a lot of the other Lacerdas. I do agree. Yeah,
it added a little bit more of a competitive nature, but you couldn't do it to screw someone over, because usually you'll be losing out as well. So it was more of, just added a little bit of variety or challenge that you then had to work around, which was quite nice.
Yeah, I think for me it's the Lacerda, weirdly, that I struggled to grasp.
I didn't think it'd be your favourite by a long shot, and I think I got that right, but I was really surprised how much you struggled to get the concept.
I don't know why.
That sounds really horrible, but I was genuinely
it,
expecting you to see that loop like Davey did quite quickly, and then you just were staring at the board going, what am I supposed to be doing? And I was like, buying art, discovering art, anything to do with art will do right now.
I think I either left it too late, and then I just couldn't see how to get on the bloody ladder. And I was like, well, everything's just out of my price range now, because you guys are commissioned and pumped up the values on certain things. And I was like, I just couldn't see it. I was like, what the F am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I think you nudged me and went, like, just go and do that thing. And then I got on the wheel, and then it was fine. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. Started to ride around it, and that wasn't 2 turns, Dave. That was probably about 8, 9 turns in.
No, but I do understand that, Will. It was a little bit more. It had more parts to it. There were a lot more actions you could do, and I think that's why the wheel had a lot more kind of spokes to have to turn or to have to like kind of navigate before you then got it turning, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is flowing now. And once it did, it flowed quite nicely.
Yeah,
but it's cool. I'd absolutely play it again.
Good.
Anytime.
Happy days. I'm keen. I was, when sometimes it's been so long since that first play that you really loved that you're like, did I really love it? Is it going to hold up? Is it going to be like going back and watching old TV shows sort of thing?
There you go.
As part of the hype train or...
Whatever, anything like that. And actually, I really enjoyed that second playthrough. I think more than my first one. And we did get a couple of parts wrong on it. But I still enjoyed that puzzle a lot. And I was like, yes, I had my right opinion the first time round.
All that meant was Davey didn't win because it wasn't legal.
It's true.
So...
yeah,
rematch.
We'll have to have a rematch. It's fine. Any day.
Any day.
Any
Bring
day.
it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Cool.
So then I think you guys ended up playing Paladins.
We did.
So, which is a game I've wanted to play for ages, but Adrian will only play at 3-player.
Yep.
So I, this time, was
You were left
outcast into the void of other friends.
Oh, what did you do?
We played Senjutsu.
The samurai dueling game.
Samurai game, yeah. So it is kind of a skirmish game, but with a little bit of... it's not really programming, but it kind of is, because you have initiative on your card. Usually you've got a card that will either have movement and attack, or sometimes a utility move on there. You have to be in a certain stance. You've got a little sheet where your stance can change. There's only one card depending on who you are. Everyone has one card which will change the stance, where you can move that about, and then you get different effects on the card. The difficulty comes in the fact that when you place it, initiative is all over the place. Usually someone is the fastest character, but then there's abilities which can be faster. People will move you around, so someone will move you, and then you do your movement and attack, and you end up just going completely the wrong way or in the wrong direction, which is why it feels like the programming game, even though it's only one card. It's a fun game, and if you're into that type of game, I think you'll really enjoy it. But I don't think Taz, Tambo, or Rob really enjoyed the programming aspect of it.
No, I think Rob had to escape through a toilet.
Rob, he played 2 cards and then went, ooh. And then had to run upstairs.
I've got to leave, boys. Into the bridal suite you went and destroyed it.
And I really want to play it again. I think it might actually be better game 2-player, because we ended up playing 3-player in the end. You're right, it was me, Taz and Tambo. And we did have fun with it, and there were really fun moments, but then it's also an elimination game, so one person gets out. So 1-on-1 would probably be better, because you reset and off you go again. Definitely want to get it to the table, especially as I've been watching Shogun recently. So
it's got that vibe.
And I think, I would enjoy it more on a one-on-one, and someone who maybe enjoys that type of game a bit more. But
I played it. I played it at Expo, but only a demo, so I kind of had like a nice demo run through. So I wouldn't have said I played a full game of it. I really enjoyed it. It's weirdly, I'm going to compare it to X-Wing, and I hate X-Wing.
You enjoyed X-Wing when you first played it.
I did, so it might be that it goes down the same road.
Min-maxed X-Wing, came with the best units and the best stuff on the board, and destroyed everyone.
Boring.
And then everyone went, don't like it anymore.
No, I don't like it, I don't want to play it. But it has that kind of same element, as you say, the positioning and where you're facing is so important, because you can swipe your swords left and right, and if people on the different side, you go damn, and people can knock you and spin you around and all that kind of stuff. So I found it quite an interesting mechanically to play. But yeah, I'll definitely be up for some matches of it, but again, I doubt we'll play it because no one in the group has it.
No, and I'm not going to buy it.
No one's really going to probably go out and buy it, in fairness.
I nearly backed it.
You did. I remember you saying this.
I was so close to backing it, and then I thought, I don't need another hex battler kind of thing.
Skirmish game.
Well, so because I like Nirishima Hex, which is nothing like it, but it looks quite similar because it's hexes that you're kind of programming who's attacking in what order. So I nearly backed it, and it's got beautiful. It looks beautiful. It's got great board presence, and I didn't look into it any more than nearly backing it and then deciding not to. But yeah, when I saw it at the Games Expo, like you, I was like, quite fancy giving that a go. But yeah,
fun.
I suppose it is good fun. And I think if you're into that game and you've got someone else you can play it with who's also into that game, you're going to have some very tight, memorable games with lots of stories kind of attached to it. So it is worth a pick up, but I don't think I would get the plays out of it. And 2-player games for me, I know you can do 4-player, but as I said, I think it is a better 2-player game.
And that was a Lucky Duck game, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So it was bought by Natalie.
Yeah.
Who's one of the reps for Lucky Duck Games, and I think if you're active on Facebook or anything like that, you probably noticed that she feels like she's at every event.
Yeah.
And she's local to us in the southwest, so she's definitely at most of the events we go to.
Yeah.
And she seems to always turn up with a pile of Lucky Duck games to show off. And
I should say that she did a great teach. it was taught very well. A lot of enthusiasm there. You can tell she obviously likes playing board games and enjoys what she does. So big thank you for that.
And she sold. Was it Cosmoctopus?
So I played this the other day as well, and I didn't play it, but I know Becky, Curly, Taz, and Tambo played this, so I can actually talk about it because. Well, in fact, did you want to talk about Paladins first?
No, you go.
No, carry on with Cosmoctopus.
Floor the segue. We're already in Lucky Duck game territory.
So Cosmoctopus, it's got kind of a theme of cultists summoning the Cosmoctopus into their little area, and you have like a little cosmic kind of counter, and it's got spaces for little tentacles.
Yeah.
So the point of the game is a little engine builder where you've got to build up enough resources to buy tentacles from certain cards and get 8 tentacles. Funnily enough, that's what you need to
summon the Cosmoctopus.
Cosmoctopus, yeah. So you have different types of cards. You've got black cards, which are like your engine cards. You've got red cards, which are like instants, so they have like a one-off effect. You have yellow cards, which are more kind of market conversions. So if you get one of some type of resource, you get more. Mm-hmm. And then you've got is it green or blue cards, which are quests or like goals that you have to then fill up. It's got some nice little rules in there. You can't have more than 8 of one resource, and there's these big resource dumps sitting there, which you can only get 1 of, which are 13.
Yeah.
So you can't get more than 8, but on your turn you can, but at the end of the turn you have to just discard down. So you've got a little goal which you want to get, which have 2 tentacles as well. You then have in the middle an octopus with a grid of tiles, which are the action tiles, and you move the octopus and do the thing. Mm-hmm. You can move the octopus another space if you pay a resource to do a different thing. And there's lots of like little cards when you play them and pay for it will move the octopus and you get the stuff, and you're kind of like, oh you bastard, you've moved the octopus to the opposite end. I need to get the octopus at the other end so I can do that resource. I'm going to have to spend a resource. Oh no, I can't afford that. It's a very basic resource conversion, but it's got a nice little engine and it's quite fun to play. It's got that little worker placement, but very, very like kind of scaled back worker placement with the octopus moving around doing said things. But you play on the cards. It's a real nice introductory engine builder, I think.
Okay.
It's a real nice, and that was one of the main things Taz wanted it for as well, because he's trying to get some board gaming.
He bought it, didn't he?
Yeah, he bought it. And his son's really enjoying it.
Good.
So
awesome.
His son now playing Dune Uprising with us, so
level up.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Yeah, when he's focused on the game for the first hour and a half, he does it really well. And then when it gets to starts teetering over to the second hour,
I can relate.
It's suddenly off the chair and running around, and basically it's hard to. He's quite young.
How old is it?
Like 11, 12?
Yeah.
So keeping the focus on the board game for 2 hours is
tough.
It's tough, yeah.
It's tough for adults, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let alone kids.
So, but it's a good game. If you want kind of like a lightweight engine builder, I'd say it's a little bit lighter than Furnace, but it kind of sits onto that whole resource management. Obviously, it's completely different mechanical wise, but kind of difficulty.
Weirdly, I know it probably is nowhere near this game, but I'm getting Gizmo's vibes of engine building.
Yeah, I would say
that level of kind of game and weight, which is like more on the entry
less
side.
combo based, but definitely that you can do combos in it. They can happen. You can do a load of stuff. Taz at one point was doing a load of things, but he ended up not having that many tentacles. He was just like, I've just been building an engine over here, and that's it. Whereas you obviously need the end goal. Yeah.
Exactly the fun part. Nice. Go on, Adrian, you talk about Paladins. It's your game.
It is my game.
You managed to get Paladins.
I did. I mainly just wanted to shame Curly because he's been talking about having Paladins in his collection for years.
About 2-3 years?
Yeah. And it keeps putting events up for it that get mysteriously cancelled and all that lot. So I thought...
Curly.
I'll show him up. But you are right. It was like, how many people... I'm happy to show you Paladins, but... It's got such a long downtime between turns. I really don't want to play it at 4-player. So we felt like we'd organised it all, and then it unorganised itself, and then we were starting to organise it again, and then eventually JP just went, no, come on, you, me and Curly will play 3-player, and everyone else just have to work out for themselves. And then
that doesn't sound like me.
And then, like, I think we left Becky out, who ended up just sorting, like, she played little games herself or something.
She was 3D modelling.
She was, yes.
Igloos for that Igloo Pop game.
Igloo Pop game, which is also
she's going to 3D print.
She walked past me and said, "They've left me out."
Bastards. That's true.
Yeah, they left me out as well on the last one. So
that's what we do.
Yeah.
It was another game that I hadn't played for a year.
Yeah.
And yet it felt like it had been more recent, and I was really like gunning to play this game again. So I was like, yeah, I can teach it, and then pretty much read the rulebook out, it felt like. But
you did a good job on the teach.
It was good fun. It wasn't too crazy, was it? But it did feel like, you know, when you think to yourself, I remember this game perfectly, and then you go to explain like the third bit in like a 20-step process, and you're like, now let me look at the rulebook quickly.
I've forgotten this bit here.
What I remember from the teach was it was very structured. It all made sense. Like in terms of what everything did.
Yeah.
You nailed that.
And there is a bit of, on this, like if you're using this function, you look at this exactly same part of the board, but you're looking at this number instead of this number.
Yeah,
so there's quite a bit of that. But I had great fun again, and Curly came across an outstanding combo that just seemed to absolutely rake in the points. It was like, every time we're about to score, so Paladins of the West Kingdom is a Garfield game. It's on the heavier side of what the games he'd done, certainly up until South Tigris, where they've gone really heavy with South Tigris.
I really want to give that a go.
But what, Paladins or South Tigris?
Both.
Fair enough. Yeah, Paladins, I really enjoyed Paladins.
You like Paladins.
Yeah. I've heard good things about. I know you and Mark were talking about it.
I did not like South Tigris.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people that haven't liked it, but from the general consensus online, actually, it's pretty good.
It seems to really side topic. So Thomas on Board Game Revolution put out saying that people suddenly started going off Garfield, like, I'm not feeling it. And it felt like a 50-50 split down the middle of people going, like, Wayfarers and Scholars are my favourite ever, and people going, they've completely lost like there's no midweight in this series like there has been in all the other series. This is all heavyweight sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Paladins is from the Architects, or from the same series as Architects. So the idea of that you're kind of doing a bit of resource gathering, but you've got the whole bad side of things, like, you know, what's it called in Architects, where you go down to the black market and all that. So you've got similar things where you can get bonuses by turning any meeple into a wild meeple, but you take this card that if you get to the Inquisition where the money runs out, then bad things happen, you get debt and all that lot. And what Curly had was a card that basically said, every time I get to this stage, I get to throw some of the cards away, and then if I haven't got any cards, I get a load of victory points. And you're like, well, hold on a second. So he was raking it in.
He was doing well.
It's got that engine buildery bit where you're trying to build. So most of the actions need 3 workers, but you can do another action which means you only need 2 workers, and they have to be specific colours. And then so you can get it right down to 1 worker if you want to. But at the same time, like the main, is it 6 actions? Each of them give you a little bit of points, and they each separately move you up a track, but they interlock massively. So you can't really do all of one, but you can't do it all evenly. You've kind of got to decide how you get them all up to a certain point and then really push ahead with the other tracks as well. And it's like a little bit of kind of worker placement mixed with some engine building. And I think the key bit that drives it is the actual Paladin deck itself. So you draw, at the beginning of every turn, you draw 3 cards. You pick one to play that turn. You pick one to put on the top of your deck, i.e. you're going to get it next turn. And you're putting one to the bottom, which means you'll eventually see it, but it won't be for a few turns. And I think that turns a game that could be just kind of a complex little interlocking puzzle into this great idea of sometimes you get a hand of 3 and you're like, I definitely want that next turn because I'm going to go after that, or that's going to be free for me, or whatever it is. Haven't quite got the resources for it this turn, but I can set up for it next turn. And then you're trying to play the one for this turn as well. And it's just, I don't know, for me it's just a really nice combo. Say the downtime between turns is quite heavy, so I would recommend you stick to 2 or 3 players personally.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of small but interlocking bits that you kind of have to teach. There's like maybe 10 or 12 different bits you have to teach. None of them are massively complicated, but they all interlock and you kind of have to see a little bit of the puzzle to start with. Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed that playthrough again.
Nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it actually. Even though probably at the end of the game you might have thought I didn't, because I that was the point in the convention where it hit me. I got really tired and I just needed a break.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll be back in like half hour. I just need to get out of the noise.
Yeah.
But in terms of the game, I actually preferred it to Architects of the West Kingdom.
Yeah.
I think it's got a lot more going on, like you said, the interlocking, the puzzle element. And I really like the fact you got the coloured meeples that you have to try and draft at the beginning of the round, so you get the right mix of the right colours to do the right actions. There's a lot of thinking involved, and it was great. I did absolutely shit.
You did, but as I said, at the end, I did wonder how much you liked the game at the end.
Yeah,
but you kept going, I've really enjoyed this, and then when your face just doesn't match the words coming out of it, sort of thing. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did someone keep you up all night? Is that why you didn't?
Yeah.
Gallerist took a little bit longer to sink in.
I know. Yeah.
And Paladins didn't click because someone kept you up all night, didn't they?
Sweet nothings in me here, bless him. No, it's a really good game. It's an interest. It's quite unique, I think, in what it does. That kind of takes us to the event dinner.
Yeah, the event dinner. So they've done it every year. It's a nice little.
Every year. It's the second time. It's the second year. You're still factual.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You're still factual.
Where's the lie?
Where's the lie?
There's no lie here.
But this time, Joel was our quizmaster.
He was.
And props to him. He did a very good quiz.
He did, yeah.
Wrong in occasion, but for the most part, he was.
Pandemic Gate.
There was just,
yeah.
and again, there's like little bits like Othello and Pandemic and questions like that where he was slightly off, but he asked something in the realm of, I was working it out, like 120 to 150 questions I worked it out as.
There's a lot.
Between the AI pictures and all that lot. And if you get 2 or 3 wrong, and not massively wrong, just kind of, there's bits and there's other alternate rules or whatever for different versions, then I still consider that a massive win, because I don't think we would have got that far into a quiz without making mistakes.
No.
They did a lot of work on that, to be fair to them. And there was another round as well that they just...
Well, they chopped off, did they?
Yeah, he chopped off because it was just getting too late. He said there was another round that they could have done, which I was enjoying it. I could have done another round, but it was suddenly 10:30, 11, and...
It did go on for a while.
Yeah.
By the time we got pudding, I was kind of I am already knackered. I want to go to bed at this point. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a great chance just to... The AI round, we had... Shall we call them discussions? Heated discussions over which was the right one. And you could see, because basically what he'd done is put the name of a game in and say, please design me some AI art that matches this game. And he said that, each one took several attempts to get good art, but most of them were to the point where really there was only one correct answer, but had the opportunity to have a couple of different ones in there as well.
Yeah.
And so, we're arguing over, is this the Dark Tower or Fury of Dracula or whatever else had Frostpunk.
Frostpunk.
Because it's just a black tower in the middle of a frozen landscape.
It could have been anything,
Which one is it? I had great fun doing
it. Was really that was my favourite round, I think.
Yes.
Strangely, I enjoyed the rest of the rounds and the questions, but that just incited a lot of conversation and a lot of thought into what it could be, and it was just good fun.
Yeah,
loads of good fun.
I think you had to have a good base knowledge of board gaming to even a standard chance at half of that stuff. So I mean, we're quite fortunate that we do. But I know that Taz, bless him, he was like, I have no idea. I'm just leaning on you guys. I'm just going to drink my beer and crack off.
Shouting at each other, it's Frostpunk, now it's this.
So get alive.
Trying to convince you a game that you'd never played or seen before, Tobago was on there, and you're like, but it can't possibly be this game I've never seen,
I've never heard of it. Can't possibly do that.
Are you sure? Because it's got all of the bits on the cover here.
Yeah, you had to convince me by showing me on Board Game Game. It's got the Easter Island.
We'd written it down, but at that point I was like, I'm going to show you how on the nose this picture is.
What, there's a game I've not played? How dare you? How dare you? But no, it was a great quiz. Joel did excellent. And
I can't believe I forgot his dicky bow.
You did?
I bought it. It's at home. I've still got this red dicky bow at home.
Wait till next
So I bought him a dicky, because we made a little deal on Full Board where if I bought him a red dicky bow, he would do the quiz in it.
Nice.
And I forgot it.
And you forgot it, mate.
I know.
You forgot it, but there we go.
There's always next year.
But we didn't win.
We didn't.
No.
By
last year we won.
5 points.
Absolute fix.
But we didn't win. But yeah, the team that won was the Devon
Devon Dice podcast team.
Oh, fix. Yeah, and, we just want it on record. No, we think it's a bit dodgy, Joel. That's all we're saying.
But yeah, we had that. We had the haiku round. Was it
Yes.
haikus?
Is that the one we did all for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think was the most obscure ones because some of them could have been multiple. But
Yeah.
That was bad. Yeah.
again, and then we had the music round and
Baby!
No one's going to know that reference, but
us.
us.
We spoke about it in the podcast last year.
Well, it's probably a
For
Grid
GridCon.
Con. Yeah, we did. I think we...
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. If you don't,
Check it out.
check out GridCon 2022.
Yeah,
I think it's that year, yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had like general knowledge rounds where it was the quickest. He gave out or general knowledge round, and then there was one where he gave out clues in order of kind of difficulty, and the earlier you got it, the more points you got.
Yeah.
Which was great fun as well.
Yeah, you did a really good job.
No, you did a great job, and the food was lovely as well to accompany it.
It
Nice
was
proper
the
free-course
food.
set.
Yeah, a nice 3-course meal with a mousse bouche at the
With the
start
mousse
as well.
bouche. I enjoyed my mousse bouche.
I enjoyed my mousse bouche.
Yeah. I always do enjoy mousse bouche at dinner.
Just to get the appetite wet.
Did we?
Yeah, we had a mousse bouche.
Yeah. It's like a little
It's like a little cheese thing.
potatoey cheese thing in a breadcrumb.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it? There you go. The mousse bouche.
I forgot because I didn't order it.
It just turned up.
I was thinking of sort of
Inhaled it and forgot about
It
it.
was about 2 seconds worth of pleasure, that wasn't it?
Yeah,
Which is good.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what makes it unique about this convention is that there is that event dinner, and there's I don't know how many people were there, 70,
Yeah.
maybe not even that, I don't know, but
Between 50 and 70.
yeah,
It's a nice
but
20.
again, it's that
people around.
intimate. You've got 6 or 7 tables, like being at a wedding. And you're all having an event dinner talking about board games and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just quite nice. It's a bit different.
Yeah, it's different, and it's with a load of people who have the same interest and the same hobby.
Yeah.
And we're doing a board game about the hobby that we love. So if you like board games, and you probably do if you listen to this podcast, then we'd recommend
You
it.
definitely check it
And
out.
no one was in any way competitive at all.
No. Very
It was-
harmless fun.
It was
Harmless
super
fun.
chill at all times. No judges' calls or berating Joel for things or anything. Or berating me because I got one question wrong.
I know. The one thing that you
question.
did.
More than one
It was
question.
more than one question, but I still maintain.
We only gave you shit about the one question.
I still maintain that I got way more
It's
right.
because it was
than I
about
got wrong.
pandemic. That's the reason why.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe you got it wrong, mate.
Yeah,
About your
It's
favourite game.
because I wasn't wrong.
To be fair, someone else brought up the same point.
3 people.
did,
It's
yeah.
all went-
Yeah.
No, it's not that.
Yeah.
Bless you. But
I remember the question. It was
Starting player.
starting player and the rule.
That was one of the rounds, yeah. How
Yeah.
do you decide to start player? All the funky games that decide to start
Yeah.
player. That was quite funny.
Yeah, it
Because
was.
normally if I read a rule like that, I'll go just randomise it and instantly
Of course you
forget that it's a quirky rule that they've put in.
well, they
It's-
do it on purpose, don't
Yeah, we all ignore them, don't we,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, who has the biggest left toe in...
they? Which game's that?
Sorry?
My left toe.
My left toe, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Twister.
Oh. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. That
No, I
would-
don't, it's not. But
No, I
it
got
is
it.
all stuff like that, isn't it? It's all ridiculous. And they must have an in joke with the developers and just go,
Yeah.
what ridiculous thing can we make for this?
Fair. So we finished the event dinner, and then we had time for probably another game. We just snuck in a late game. Adrian, you
I
said,
went to
bye
bed.
bye now, I'm tired.
I went to bed. I was
And-
happy with that.
We played Imperium,
Yeah.
which I was like, oh, this is, a nice light game of Imperium to finish the day off. And it was probably one of the most fun games of Imperium I actually had. And I love it. I talk about it a lot on the podcast, but it's quite nice to play it 4-player. I don't actually recommend it 4-player massively because same sort of thing with Paladins. It's downtime and there's a lot going on, and if you built a nice little engine, you're comboing left, right, and centre. It just takes a while before it kind of comes round. But weirdly or equally, because the game is quite heavy, you are planning So it's not like I'm just sitting here waiting to do what I need to do. You are literally constantly thinking, well, I'll do that, I'll do this. So it's not the end of the world. And I think it flowed pretty well. We had Tambo's first game and Taz's first game.
Yeah.
We played before at Essen. And Davey's like, I'll put Taz and Tambo on the starter nations from the classics box. And I can't remember who they played as, Romans or Persians, I can't remember.
Taz played the people I had played.
Oh, the Carthaginians.
Carthaginians. And I'm unsure who Tambo was. Like a war. Was he a warrior one?
I think it might be Romans. Yeah. And then Davey went, I want to pick one from the Horizons box. He was looking through which ones are the worst stars.
Standard.
And he went, I'll play the Martians. A nice easy faction. Which they're not. I've never played them. I said, well, you're on your own, mate, because I can't help you with them whatsoever. Anyway,
I'm just glad they ended in a positive score.
Yeah. Is it that bad, was it?
Yeah, well, you basically...
They're different.
You have to play them completely differently to everyone else. They start off with their good cards, but you start off with VPs as well. But these VPs, unless you get rid of all the VPs... They've got like a time bomb and it would explode and basically just keep giving you what's the bad card? Unrest, which are just minus VPs. So you have to get rid of all the VPs to flip the card and then basically you become native.
Yeah.
And you become one with Earth, and then you have to get them all back again. But you've got a lot of VP cards in your deck.
Right.
But these VP cards in your deck also get you VPs. Because they've got VPs in your deck,
and you don't want them early.
Yeah, you get rid of them by giving your tech out and sharing it with the other nations, but you don't want to give too much of your tech out. I did a really shit job of that. I gave...
Have everything!
No, I gave my tech out. JP took it, used it once, then binned it. I gave my other tech to Taz, which would have slowed the game down, but he just never used it. I mean, I wanted to slow the game down because I want to get rid of more VPs, but he just never used it, ever. And I was just like... my tech. I want to get rid of these.
It's
good. So it was a hard engine. You had to plug, or you really had to pull the cord. It was like trying to start the lawnmower. But when it then got going, you're like, ooh, mopping up VPs. But there was only 2 turns left.
Yeah.
So, but I think I ended up with 20, which wasn't actually too bad in the end because I had worked from theoretically I'd earned 40 something VPs, but I had to obviously get rid of 20. Did then get that side. So they were good fun. They were very different to the previous one I played.
Not standard.
And I know where I went wrong. And that's quite nice to see in a game. I know where I went wrong. I know what I should have done. And I know when I should have suddenly started pushing on the brakes. I was also playing them a little bit wrong in the fact that I didn't realise I could spend some of my VPs as a resource.
Yeah, you spend your progress tokens as materials or population.
Yeah. So every time I did, I get unrest. But there's a couple of times where I could have binned off unrest, but I had nothing to bin off. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, oh, okay, fine. Whereas I should have spent the VPs getting the unrest, binned it off.
Yeah. Right, okay.
So that would have, I think I would have given me an extra couple of turns, which would have obviously put me, I would have had the engine going a lot quicker and the points going. So I know where I went wrong. Really enjoyed it. Now, you played another complex faction?
Yeah. So I was playing the Mayans, who are quite similar as the Olmecs from the Legends box, and the Mayans are from the Horizons expansion, and they're quite crazy in that they work with these stone mass cards that they are basically resources that you fuel into your tableau, and they I think by the end of the game I must have had about 20 cards in that tableau just comboing nonsense, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But that's the thing with this game is the nations are just so varied and different. Now there's 30 of them to play, and I'm working my way through them. I've not played them all yet, but I'm getting close. I wouldn't say I've mastered any of them. Some of them I'm better than others, but it's just the variety. And when you play, it's like a different bloody game. So you play as the Martians, different game. You play
it was a different game.
You play as the Utopians, again, completely different. What you're trying to do, all kind of meshing together with that same rule set. But I really enjoyed that 4-player.
Yeah,
to the point where I was like, you know what, I'll play that again as a 4.
Yeah.
Whereas normally I would try and keep it as a 2.
Yeah.
Or solo, because I play a lot of it solo, as you know. So, but I think I will do an Imperium night at some point.
It's also crazy how much it can change, because obviously the market, you've got different markets, you put in different cards, which is going to change that core deck that you're playing with a game. So that adds more variety in the mix as well.
There's 3 commons decks that I've got now. And then obviously you got the trade routes, which we played with. We just threw it all in, didn't we? All sorts of nonsense going on. It's great fun.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game.
Then I went to bed.
I didn't stay up, I don't think. I went to bed.
Oh, you were good that night?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was like 2:30.
Oh, yeah, it was late, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It
was late.
Imagine
if I played another game, I would have been hanging on the Sunday.
It was, you're right, it was really late. Yeah, 2:30, 3, something like that. Anyway, so there you go. Leads to the Sunday.
Yeah, breakfast.
Another
breakfast. Never fry up.
Another fry up.
Great start.
Yeah.
Double fry up. We're thinking, if I had another fry up again on the 3rd day, it's carnage.
It's too much.
But you can always squeeze it.
Poached egg and toast, it would have been if there was another day.
Yeah.
Speak for yourselves. I'm English every day.
Really? I can't do it.
I
can't do it. It gets to the point where I feel evil.
Yeah.
If I do
Fair
it.
enough.
Yeah.
I would do it every day, but I don't think my digestion
Yeah, it's probably not good for you from that point of view, but yeah, from a taste bud perspective.
Yes, definitely.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah.
So here we go. We Sunday. What do we all? I only played one game.
I only played
one game.
Brass Lancashire. We got to the table. Me, Joel, and Taz, and really enjoyed it. Obviously, I love brass anyway, but not. I thought I'd played in Lancashire before, but I hadn't. I think I've just watched a lot of videos on it and decided on brass, because it obviously plays very similar. You've got a little bit slight variation in the fact that you kind of got ports instead of your trade routes that you get with your markets. Yeah, you've got ports which you have to send your do the trade action with, where you flip the tile. I'm not going to explain brass because I'm sure most people have played it. Or
very common game. Yeah.
Unless you want me to explain it.
No.
Exactly.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. And there's still the tightness there. It was actually a really tight game, and I can see why maybe some people prefer it than brass. Brass is Birmingham. I keep saying brass. Brass Birmingham prefer Brass Lancashire. Is the fact that it did feel like a tighter game. That we were kind of more confined to these spots, and Joel opened up the top just at the right time for me to be able to get some coal up to the top and basically complete my set and have a nice wombo combo of points right at the end, which he then swore about because he obviously just didn't see it right at the end there. But I mean, he would have had to know I had that certain card to do that as well. So it was all a mix of a factor. So it was a very tight knit, real kind of competitive game, which we all really enjoyed. But I still prefer Birmingham. I like the beer aspect. And I think the biggest thing, if Lancashire had as good of a tech board with your buildings and everything as Brass Birmingham, because the Birmingham one feels a little bit more balanced of how you go through the buildings, what buildings to build off. There's a couple more choices because you've got the pottery as well. Whereas in Lancashire, you've just kind of got the shipyards, and which you just trade with, just another place to trade with, or you've got your boat, and your boats, as soon as you build them, they flip. You get points for them, which takes away that element with pottery. You still have to trade it, so you still got to work it into your trade route, which I think is a tighter aspect, and it's a little bit kind of easier to for people to kind of put a spanner in the works of you planning that and being like, oh, well, I'm going to take this over here instead, or take that coal from there, and etc. So the board seemed tighter and better, but the actual building layout wasn't as well engineered. So I think that's why Birmingham sits higher, in my opinion.
Well, Birmingham was basically version 2, right? So Lancashire's the original one.
Yeah.
And then Roxley came in with their designers and play testers and all that lot and said, let's smooth this out, make this a little less mean, a little less tight, sort of improve that puzzle. And that's why you've got Brass Birmingham. But I can totally understand why you've got the two camps, because some people prefer a meaner game that's a bit more sort of specialised and requires those multiple playthroughs and really getting into it, and some people prefer a game that's sort of just as complex but perhaps not quite as cutthroat. You still can drink someone else's beer and really annoy someone, but at the end of the day it's a slightly more open puzzle with a few more options, because that's what they've designed it to do, right?
I really want a game where they mix Lancashire board with the engineered side of the Brass Birmingham.
They're bringing one out, aren't they?
Are they bringing one out?
Brass Taunton.
Brass.
I was waiting. I was like, which place is he going to name?
I expected him to name somewhere up north, like from where he's from.
What, Brass Grantham?
Yeah, Brass Grantham.
You mean the East Midlands?
No, north.
Oh, sorry.
Where are we right now?
We're in the southwest.
So whereabouts is Grantham to us?
Is the East Midlands?
It's north.
It's north.
It's north.
I think the listeners will testify that I'm from the East Midlands.
Look, it's like the Game of Thrones thing, alright? Where the wall was north for everyone. Yeah, and then it was basically anything beyond that. To the wildlings, north was,
Yeah. If you haven't guessed, I'm from the East Midlands originally, so that's why I'll kind of defend it, even though I moved to the southwest. So I'll only defend it to a point, and then everyone's like, "Yeah, but you moved here," and I'm like, "Yeah, shut up." So yeah,
he put on his daps and got down here.
Don't start on the daps. You've just alienated 99% of the podcast listeners talking about daps.
So I think it was the first meal where we were talking about this, and I was like, "Do you know that daps is actually Dunlop Athletic plimsolls?" And everyone looked so disappointed to find out what daps actually meant, because it's like, oh, so it has got the word plimsoll in it then. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So it's a plimsoll, right? Yeah, good.
No, they're pumps.
Carry on.
Anyway.
So while we were brassing it up, you guys were playing Lord of the Rings card game?
War of the Ring card game.
War of the Ring card game.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which I think me and Adrian had very polar opposite experiences of, if I remember.
Who was winning?
Me. I'll say me and Curly. Yeah, so War of the Ring, the card game is pretty much an abstracted version of the War of the Ring, the board game, where you kind of work, one side is the Free Peoples, good guys, hobbits and all of that jazz. The other team is the Uruks and Sauron and all the nasty twats, basically.
Yeah.
The card game you can play as 2, 3 or 4 player. We played 4 player, which is a team, which you wouldn't play the board game as a team game anyway. It's the same thing as Rebellion, right? But actually, I enjoyed it camp, but then I felt we were playing as the good guys, me and Curly, and it felt like things were going our way a little bit more than maybe on the bad guys camp, which Adrian was like, I'm bloody frustrated, I can't do anything, and I can't see how we would win.
Do you know why that is?
Did we play wrong?
Because we missed a load of rules. We played it once.
We did, yes.
Got it was like 3 rounds and good one by a landslide.
It wasn't even fun, that game.
It wasn't even fun. It was like, right, let's have a look at the rules. Oh, okay, a bunch of rules we've missed. We then played it the second time, and I'll admit I got salty because I just genuinely couldn't see how evil was supposed to win the game. And Curly delighted in this because that's the way Curly is with some of these things. He was looking all smug all the way through of, it's just that you're not good enough. So I wound up, drove home, went straight on the internet and was like, I'm reading this rule book again. Oh, we missed a load of rules. And I went on BGG and they were like, don't forget this rule because it's a key component to Shadow Winds that we missed.
What was it?
So the one that we really missed was when you re-invoke a battleground, you don't count any shields.
Oh.
So you're supposed to pull all of the good guy battlegrounds back into play and fight over them when the opportunity... So I suppose we should teach a bit more about the game, really. But
I don't have a clue what you're about.
So there's kind of 2 main things. You've got battlegrounds and kind of the plot. So as well as having completely asymmetric decks that feel very different, so we divided up into like Sauron and Saruman, basically, and you divided up into elves and humans and hobbits and something else or whatever it was. Magical people.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
And you've got the plot, which is designed to give you like a story. It kind of, as you push it on, things get tougher for the good guys, and easier for the bad guys to go. And then you've got the other side, which is battlegrounds, which is places you're fighting over.
Yeah.
And these are pulled up, these are alternated. So the plots kind of work through, they're randomised, but they work through in a number order. You just get one out, like there's 3 different first stages and 3 different numbers. So you just pick one of those at random. But for the most part, they start off easier for the good guys. The battlegrounds are pretty much just a big old stack of mixed. cards that come out however, and so you fight over one and you kind of influence the other.
Yeah.
So plots you influence, and battlegrounds you fight over, and they're both treated slightly different. So the advantage seems to go to the battlegrounds for the bad guys. So if they've got anyone, and again I think we got this rule wrong because I definitely ditched people I shouldn't have, which is anyone that's left over from the battleground doesn't die. They come back to you or go into your recycle pile or whatever, and then anything in the plot, all the evil guys always die, but anyone who's not being combated on the good side recycles, which I think again we were recycling all of the good guys.
Right.
So all these little things, and then so what the good guys are trying to do is advance the plot as quick as possible while they've got the advantage, and they've got this kind of mechanic that I don't think we fully understood because we started trying to push the plot, like duplicate the plot cards when you couldn't duplicate them and stuff like that. So there was a bit of confusion there. And then on the battleground side of things, what evil is supposed to do is wait until they're about to have superior numbers and then pull in these battlegrounds, which the ones that are typically easy to defend for the good guys are worth more points. So you're supposed to kind of lose them, I think, from what I could make out from like reading online. You're supposed to lose the good battlegrounds, wait for the good guys to have it in their victory pile, and then pull them back in when they're then not counted as defended. Which I said multiple times, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with these battlegrounds because all of my mechanics are about pulling these battlegrounds back, but you're just going to win them again.
Yeah.
When in fact you're not,
No.
because they come out with that. So I'm not the biggest fan of asymmetric card games and stuff like that with lots of text on cards and all that kind of stuff anyway. And then to have two games where actually we played both of them quite considerably wrong. Like the rule book's not the greatest, but I think it's just the design of the game anyways. Got lots of little nibbly bits in it that I just didn't enjoy. But yeah, it felt to me more that, okay, it's clearly balanced, more balanced, because online people were saying it's balanced, but the fact that we kept missing so many rules, and I don't want to blow our own horn here, but we're fairly advanced gamers, I'd like to say. I'd like to say we understand quite complex games fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So it felt like, well, if we didn't get it all...
Usually someone's learned the rule set first.
Yeah, true.
Usually one of us has put the effort in there beforehand, no?
Usually, yeah. I want it on record, it wasn't my game.
No.
It wasn't Rob's game and it wasn't Adrian's game. So...
Been thrown under the bus there, isn't he?
I don't think, to be fair to Curly, I don't think he's played it a lot.
No,
exactly. It was thing, wasn't it?
I think it's second ever game, and he played with Rob a long time ago. So it's might have just been one of those things that had not been cemented in. But I really enjoyed it. I think I could see the kind of game in it, and I quite like that it was a team game for that one. Personally, I quite like the fact that you had half of the story in your decks and they've got their half, and it kind of thematically makes sense, and you kind of want to have that table talk, but the other player's listening, so you have to kind of, you can't do it secretly and go, no, what's going on here? You have to kind of be open about a lot of stuff, and but yeah, I want to play it again. I would like to play as a shadow, play it properly.
Yeah, play it with all the rules.
Play all the rules, do it right, and just see how it goes.
Yeah, I'll be intrigued. I like those kind of card games, and I've heard a lot of whispers and rumours along that it actually plays really well 4-player, which War of the Ring, the original, no one ever said that about that.
No, so, don't do it. So I think that's the roundup of games that I've got.
Yeah, I think so.
That was the last game I played, and then we bid the Curlies adieu as they were tucking into their carvery, and
off we went.
Off we went home.
The shagging wagon.
Yeah, okay.
Because you and Rob were in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't remember that, but that's all cool by me.
Driving the 4-poster bed home.
Do miss that 4-poster bed. So yeah, any kind of closing comments? Any closing thoughts?
I thought the food was great. The location was lovely. I had a walk around the ground a couple of times, which I don't think you guys did. But
no.
Again, for dog walkers, perfect because they're dog friendly and all that kind of stuff.
Did I walk round? Are you taking the piss, Adrian?
You can walk.
Did I walk round there? No, someone wheeled me round it, maybe, but no.
I think I was the only one who explored any of the grounds. The rooms were really nicely done. I think, again, It's in a lovely location. The one problem I had is going there. It rained, it snowed, they'd closed 3 roads, and I was forced onto this horrible rickety back road with so many potholes.
Pumping the brakes, obviously.
Those discs are burning, smoking.
Fire coming out the back.
You're doing 40 degrees down, and then the next thing you know, you've pulled a U-turn, you're doing 40 degrees back up again, and a 40% hill back up again.
This brake's going, kill me!
Honestly, when I got there, I felt frazzled, and when I got back, I felt frazzled from doing that journey. And that's nothing that the hotel can help, but it was kind of like...
It is windy to get there.
Yeah. It was kind of like, oh, I'm done. I'm glad I'm
There is
home.
a less windy road, but it's a little bit further out. You have to drive out, and then you go to it's like a ring road, main road, and then drive around.
But yeah, otherwise, I thought it was great grounds, great place, great, I was going to say culture then, great environment, great sort of attitude.
Well, I think culture is a good... They do have a great culture there as well because of... So Matt has encouraged a nice environment there. Always feel welcome. It's quite homely in some aspects, isn't it? It's quite nice.
It was nice arriving and then remembering us from last year, and a few winks and a few nods about late night drinking and rum. Even to the point where I think I ordered a Kraken on the Saturday night, and I think it's his wife on the bar, and she said, "Oh." She must have had a flashback from last year when Kraken, Saturday night, board gaming weekend. What's going on here? Is there going to be any trouble this time? But no, it's all good. It's all good, I promise. So again, it's just that nice feeling, isn't it, of community, and you're right, they develop that really, really nice environment. So welcoming, great to get back.
Yeah, definitely. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's just such a small event, isn't it? You've got to get in there and get your tickets as soon as they're available.
They went quickly this year as well, didn't they?
And I can't imagine them being able to really easily expand any more than the numbers they've got.
Open up the tree house.
Maybe.
There you go.
That looked rickety. It's obviously solid because it stood there for years, but there's like support beams coming off at weird angles. It looked like Weasley's house.
Well, the weather was so different to the year before. The year before we were baking. Do you remember how hot it was the year before?
No. I remember how
February. I wish I wore.
outside.
I wore shorts.
Yes.
I was thinking, God, it's really.
It was.
It's a warm weekend in February.
Nice.
Whereas this year was obviously normal February weather.
Grim February.
Yeah.
February weather.
But it's a nice location. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I mean, we just want to say a big thank you to Matt and the Fox Hound Country Hotel. We want to say a big thank you to Christoph from Meeples Corner. So make sure you kind of follow them both, and if you're interested about the convention, definitely keep in touch with them, follow them on social media. We'll link all their details in the show notes of this episode as well. And if you're ever down this way, or even if you're not and you fancy a nice board gaming weekend away, a lovely part of the world in the southwest, check it out because it's great. It's great fun.
Very picturesque.
Yeah, and we're pleased to have done an episode around it and hopefully kind of bring the event to life. So I think that draws us to a natural close, right, gentlemen?
Yeah.
It is late.
It is late and we need to go to sleep. Thanks everybody for listening to the episode. You can catch all of our details in the show notes, and as always we appreciate your support, which if you want to kind of help us develop the show and then support the show even further, we have coffee, of which we can link all the details again in the show notes. For those that continue to support us, we thank you massively. It makes a huge difference to us and what we do. So we'll be back again on the next episode, next time, for a new main episode. And until then, whose turn is it, chaps? The dog's turn.
Honey!
Honey!